Hey beautiful souls, welcome. It's Hannah here from Reality Awareness, and I'm being called to obviously come live and say hi. And I've got a bit of an energy update. I wanted to do it yesterday afternoon, but I was like right in the energy of it, and then I was going to write a blog, and I'm like, I've got more to say than just a blog. So here we are. Hey guys, hi. Okay, let me share this as always, and let's see who else jumps on live. And as you jump on live, say hi. I see you all joining live, and hey Mana, and yeah, let me know how you're feeling, because like with that full moon this at the start of this week, it was pretty intense. Yeah. Hey Nalina. Okay, let me share this because yeah, I'm gonna start talking, and I got a lot to say about this. So I really want to talk about it. I was gonna write all these things like in the like title of it, and I'm like, there's so much more. Like not so much more. Like what I want to say needs a bit more explanation than just putting it in the title. So yeah, I really want to be mindful of how and what I share in this with what I'm about to say, because it's quite big in a way. Hey Wendy. Okay, so let me pull this up here as well. Where am I? Hey Tammy, lovely to have you here. There's 2 Tammys on here. Which is awesome. Every time I say awesome, that song comes in my head. I don't know why. So full on. Okay. I'm getting there. Because I thought and felt like, remember like, I don't know, it was like 3 weeks ago. I don't know. I seem to get this like 3 week in advance thing happening. Okay. Yes. Let me share it. Like this 3 week prediction thing. And you know, like you guys, so funny. I was just talking to a mentor about this morning, and she's like, it's so funny. Like we shouldn't say funny, but in whatever way she explained it to me, she's like, you always like go on that you don't do like, you know, future psychic readings. And I'm like, yeah, I don't. But then like, I always get this information about it. And I was even questioning about that. Like, why am I so anti it? Like, you know, and it is, I guess, maybe I think I'm anti it in a sense that with the, you know, like, number one, psychics and healers and everything have a bad name collectively, you know, being wiped out, witch hunts, all that sort of thing, because of, you know, predicting the future. And it's like, well, bad things are going to happen. So you're a witch and you're, you know, like all the bad, it's like, if we really look at society, there's a lot of bad things that happen all the time. Like, do you know what I mean? Like there is, and there's also a lot of good things that happen, but which one are we focusing on, right? Now, the other thing about, you know, me personally, I was like reflecting on that. I'm like, yeah, what is with that? I'm like, oh, because I don't want to be wrong, right? I don't want to be held responsible for other people's futures and stuff. Like, it's their responsibility, like, ultimately. And I mean, that goes with anything, whether you're getting a psychic reading or you're doing something in your business or your life, you know, like you marry this person, you don't marry that person, like your life's going to be very different no matter which way you choose, right? But it's up to you what you choose. So, and it's interesting because I got this date of the 14th of October, which I knew was the full moon. And I did, you know, I started to understand these dates and predictives kind of, you know, dates that I get. I usually, whatever I get shown is about a shift in consciousness. It's a date where a shift in consciousness happens, right? Hey, beautifuls. Thanks for joining live. It's lovely to have you here. So it's like this shift in consciousness seems to be the dates that I get. Now, whether it's a shift in consciousness badly or goodly, I mean, I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I don't like using bad or good because, right? But the thing is with, you know, like this full moon on Monday, it was really like people were falling apart, like doubting everything, questioning everything. So I see, Tammy, you right here. I've had lots of old stuff coming up to clear out, lots of revelations, but feeling wrung out. Yes. Grateful for all the tools I have from Trust Intuition. Yes. Helped tremendously in wading through everything. I know it's been a really heavy week, right? As you saw on Wednesday, I blogged and posted that I woke up crying, and a lot of people had. I had people message me saying, oh, that was me 2 days ago. And I was like, oh, if I wasn't like having to hold it together basically without me even realizing it, because I had a lot of work on Monday and Tuesday, then I probably would have fallen apart on those days as well, right? Hey Shari, hey everyone joining, hi. So in that sense, I felt guided to come on and share here. And like I said, I was going to write a blog, and I'm like, oh, I've got a lot more to share than just a blog post, or I want to explain it or whatever. So the main factor is that I've had a lot of people going, oh, there's something wrong with me, or oh, what's going on? And I can't stress this enough, right? I really can't stress this enough. And you guys who are interested in intuition, it's so good. Like I love hearing like Tammy, like with the tools, I was able to wade through it. I'm like, yes, because what I teach in Trusted Intuition is so that you don't get in this spiral and get stuck in like that, you know, like it's important to, like I did on Wednesday, have a cry, like go into it, like, you know, there's something to clear here. And I want to point out, and thanks for sharing as well, Tammy, that there has been a lot of old patterns, like even for myself, even for other people I spoke to on Wednesday, it's like old pattern clear out. So yes, Cassie, for Hunter's full moon, closing of old patterns, last curtain call. Now it's interesting because this is October, Halloween is coming up, or Samhain, and it's like in this space of like really closing the door, right? It's like, you know, all the old stuff will come up, and you know, it's so important not to like you know, beat yourself up around like, oh, there's something wrong with me, and like, oh, I thought I dealt with this and I'm never going to be able to get through this, and like, you know what I mean? Like there's so many people saying that stuff to me, and I'm like, guys, like, you know, like unless you're in Trust Intuition, you kind of, you know, like I can see the ones in Trust Intuition, they're like, they get it, because this is why I teach that, right? Because it's so important to like check what's going on. Is it collective? Where's the moon? Like the moon is our mother. Like the moon is like, the moon, like the sun gives us life, and the moon affects everything else. Yeah. So when we're able to, you know, be able to have that awareness of what's going on, we're able to, the solution, as I always say, the solution is always there. Yeah. Hey Marina. Yeah, Cassie says, I was just about to say, use the tools and you'll get through it. That's what I love about Trust Intuition. It has them all. Exactly, right? It's a specific set of tools in a specific order for that reason, so that you're able to not go crazy and think there's something wrong with you. We're able to trust that intuition on a higher capacity, more acutely, and able to tune in and able to get through it, not only get through it, but with accurate clarity about what the hell is going on. And then we can support other people in that, right? So Tammy says, tools, yes. Okay. There's lots of Tammys here. Okay, so I've been feeling the energy drain. Yes. Also been feeling a shift in my energy lifting. Yes. Thanks for bringing that. Because the other thing that I want to share, and I don't know, I've been questioning if there's solar flares. I haven't even looked, because, you know, when there's like a solar flare come through, it actually gives us a new wave of consciousness. Like it can drain and wipe some people out energetically, but it's also, if you look at it as though like a shed in consciousness, like the snake, yeah, sheds its skin and it's born again. I wrote about that yesterday with Jesus, like the Christ consciousness, like that born again is a whole new wave of consciousness, a huge, you know, and okay, so this is why I need to talk, not write a blog. There's a lot I want to say. The October coming into this space. Now, you know how I've been saying that 9-month cycle, 18-month cycle, 9 to 10 months is when a woman gives birth. Yeah. Now, for whatever reason, we've got this whole Gregorian calendar that is like, now we're in October, it's the 10th month, right? So it's really birthing a new reality. And I was really feeling into that last night while I was getting the message. Like when you look at a newborn baby and mother and a whole like brand new family, right? Even though there's brand new joy, like around, well, usually exhausted joy in a way, around a baby, right? A newborn baby, when you really think about that first month, right? So the 9-10 month mark, they give birth, and then we're starting a whole new cycle of, you know, that thing, right? It's starting again. But that 10 month, the 10th month, which is now October, it's a death month. Like, yes, there's been a birth, but that's in the first month of that newborn baby's life, it's also a death month of those, especially for new parents, like their firstborn child, of like those people are never gonna be childless again. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, they're never gonna be not a mother or not a father. Do you know what I mean? And so it's a big death of an entire way of living previously. Like when you really think about it, you can't go back from there. And I really felt called to point this out for whatever reason. October, even though it's like, yes, new beginnings, where it's such a death month, is that why Halloween is here? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, Halloween, Samhain is literally about, what is it? Marking the beginning of winter, or the dark, you know, like leading into winter, obviously in the northern hemisphere, right? In the southern hemisphere, we're leading into summer. So it's interesting that it's marked so prominently, but energetically we can all feel it, right? And this is where I wanted to, you know, write in the heading of this live stream, and also like blog about it. And I was like, no, I can't blog about this. I need to talk about it. Because for me, Grim Reaper has been around about the past 10 days. Dark entities, demons, like all that stuff has been really present for me, in clients, in my own life, in just making an appearance, yeah? Now, in October, like, if you guys have been following me since last year, some people freak out when I start talking about the Grim Reaper and that level of death, but when we see death as a rebirth, like when we really use that newborn example around October, 10 months being a crucial element. Now, when you're working with a healing cycle, when you're working in your own life, when you're working with clients, it's really important to have this awareness of where your client's at. When was the first point, and yourself, that you started this, whatever issues going on? When did that first start? Are they at the 10-month mark? Because it'll be like they want to give up. It'll be the hardest point, but it's the point where the new birth is beginning. But sometimes, even though there's been a new birth, it's like I'm hearing like a double-edged sword. I know they don't really go hand in hand when we're talking about a newborn baby lifestyle thing, but when you really look at the energetics of it, it's all of that, right? And so it's really, really important around, I understand the feeling of getting dark entities around, right? And so the other thing I want to say is, like, the Grim Reaper represents death, okay? Now, Grim Reaper came to me in my bedroom this time last year, well, it was November last year. Witch came, and it was really, I wasn't scared or anything like that, but he was just in my room. And I was like, wow, this is really interesting. And there's so much more to share about that. But the point is that we're in a month of endings, you know, and when we look at, you know, the chaos that's amping up in the world at the moment, it's kind of no surprise in the timing of it, because this is the month for the death rebirth stuff, right? So when we've just got our energy awareness on this energy that's going on the planet, that is a cyclic, you know, rhythm and flow that the collective is tuned into. I mean, like, we've got the Gregorian calendar to like mark time now, you know, so all of that sense. And on the 28th of October, that's the new moon. Well, that's the dark moon, right? And then a couple of days later is the 31st, which is the marking of Halloween, Samhain. Now, I've been guided to hold a ceremony. It's the animal shaman ceremony, and it's literally activating your animal shaman. So this is, I'm getting shown that this is different to the animal spirit guide or animal totem meditation and attunement. This is like your animal shaman activation. And it's kind of interesting that this has been like so strong, and like, you know, and I got the date, the 28th, and then I looked and I'm like, oh, that's like the peak dark moon, right? So I'm like, well, talk about portals. And I just feel like this is what I've been getting the message, like this animal shaman activation is like, you, like, as an ancient blooded healer, as an empath, as someone who is so deeply connected to the earth energies and what's going on, like, you can feel and sense everything, right? And I'm getting the sense strongly that this is like attuning your animal shaman frequency. Like, it's just like, I don't know, I've never done this before, but it's so strong, and the animals around me at the moment, oh my god. So anyway, the point around that is I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting with the Grim Reaper, and like when we talk about animal shaman or we talk about shaman, we talk how deeply connected to the earth that is, how underground that is, how dark that can be. It's kind of like this is about us going there and owning that darkness and taking the light in that space, right? Yeah, coming and goosebumps. So yeah, and that'll like, and that's on the actual portal of the dark moon, new moon crossover, right? Now someone says something about the crone here. Hang on a sec. Because when we look at the dark moon, that's all crone stuff. Who said that? I saw crone in one of the comments. Okay. Ricky said, I've noticed a lot of people pass in October, start of November. Yep. Oh, okay. So Tammy says, it is the death of the son and his widow, the crone, is left to carry on for him until he returns. Wow. There we go. There we go. So interesting, right? Yeah, when you get dark entities around. And that's the thing, like with the dark entities, with the Grim Reaper, with, you know, all those like things, like people get scared of them or worried or, you know, attachments or anything like that. And it's kind of like, guys, that, you know, like the fear is what feeds them, number one. Okay. If you're in fear, you're feeding it. Like that's what they feed off. That's why people who run rampant with like, I don't know, like, you know, like, so I just saw like run rampant through violence and destruction and everything. Like people who do that, they're in so much fear and they're deeply scared inside, even though they have a tough front on, they're so shit scared and that's their front. And demons and entities, etc., are feeding off the fear, right? That's how they survive, right? So number one, don't be scared of them. Right? And you might be like, how the fuck do I do that? Right? When you understand the truth and the depth of who they are, what they're here for, you'll see them around, but it's only when you get scared of them, that's when they can attach and all this sort of thing, right? Now, the purpose of them is to wake people up. If people don't really resonate with that, that's fine, but that is like what I see and feel, and that's how they shift, is because I see the truth of who they are. They're waking that person up out of the unconsciousness, and then their job is done and they leave, right? So in that space, like this, you know, the full moon has been so like big and like lots of destruction and lots of like shifting and changing and everything like moving and, you know, like lots of old patterns like shedding and all this stuff, right? And then when we come into, you know, like this past few days has been even more, and this, there's like a shifting and shedding of old patterns, or patterns resurfacing so that you can release them consciously. There's also like not just old patterns, but old memories, old relationships, old lineage, old, like all of that. Yeah. And when you really think about that compared to newborn baby style, releasing the death of, you know, number one, the soul coming in and now never being a soul again, you know, until it leaves the earth again, is in this confined human body, plus the fact of the mother and father completely never, not ever being a mother and father ever again. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's a big, like, that's a life, reality shifting life change. Do you know what I mean? That will never go back to how it's meant to be. And this October of that sense of moving, like, through all of these energies, yeah, and really reconnecting into the cycles and, you know, where they're going and what's moving through and from that, it's like coming into that sense of like that, you know, like we need to release the old. And it's so interesting that, you know, like when we think about it, that coming up Christmas is like this, the birth of Jesus, right? If I got that correct, I always forget this stuff. You know, and it's kind of like looking at that new cycle coming in as well, right? So we're starting and then we're moving into a whole new year of 2020, and then moving beyond that. Like this is like releasing, and as someone pointed out, this is not just like moving into a new year, we're moving into a whole new decade. Yeah, so this is like, so I'm wondering if stuff from 10 years ago has been surfacing. It has for me personally. Lots of like closing off of, I don't know if old patterns is the word, I guess it is. Patterns, relationships, issues, threads, connections, stuff from 10 years ago. 10 years and even longer before then. Like we're closing off a decade. So I feel like the animal shaman coming through is like a real release and reset. Like when you really think of the depth of a shaman and the earth and the lands and going underground in a way, and really connecting to the animals on the planet, and your animal shaman, like you as the animal shaman, is like really like taking us, I don't know how to describe it, like taking us through that portal. And it's just, I don't know, I haven't done like a dark moon, new moon ceremony. I do full moon ceremonies, but I've been guided to do this one a couple of days before the end of October on Halloween, Samhain. So I'm kind of interested to see what channels through with this. Yes. Okay, was there anything else that I needed to share about this energy update? And or does anyone have any questions? Because I feel like there was something else that I needed to say about this. Oh, and so when you do see dark entities, demons, that sort of thing, like, you know, like they appear when we're about to shift to a next level. Like, so if you look at them now at this point of the end of the death rebirth cycle, right? We're like death and rebirth, right? In October, we're shifting to a next level. Like Grim Reaper's job is death, like to help people cross the other side in a way, right? Like that's his job. Now, when Grim Reaper's around, people get scared because they're like, oh, death. And it can mean that. But it can also be the death of a consciousness, the death and shedding of a skin, the death and shedding of a relationship, the death, like, do you know what I mean? Like there's lots of different meanings, but also with the demons and entities, it's like a, you know, you're about to shift to the next level. Are you going to? Are you going to? Like, are you really going to? Or are you just going to stay in the dark, so to speak? Or are you really going to shift and do the things you said you're going to do? The older calendar used to have 13 months, yes. So is there anything significant to the number 13? I think you once said it's associated with the goddess or the divine feminine. Yes. You saw the death card. Yeah. So 13 is associated with the divine feminine. Why? Because there's actually 13 moon cycles in a year, not 12. That's why once a year, there's, what do they say, 2 blue moons or something. That's why there's 2 full moons in a month or 2 new moons in a month, or, you know, that sort of thing once in a blue moon, because as we go each year, those cycles will continue. Like there's 13, yeah? There's 13 moons, not 12. There's 12 months and it should be 13 months and the, you know, the months should be 28, not 31 or 30 or 28. There's 128. Like, do you know what I mean? So the 13 represents of the 13 moon cycles, which is connected to the divine feminine, which is connected to the goddess. There's 13 in that. Now, apparently, originally, that was taken away and part of the divine feminine being suppressed by the Gregorian calendar, which is the patriarchal, if I'm understanding correctly, the Roman calendar that came in, and that's the patriarchal rule of the 12 months to block out the 13 months of the moon. Does that make sense? So as we shift, and I feel like over time is going to change in our 3D modern world, right? And there's already kind of shifts and movements happening with that, with the 4-day working week rather than the 5-day working week. Like things are already changing, and I feel like, you know, long term in the future, there's 13 people on live stream right now, right? Every time I see a death card, everything collapses, because that's why. Yeah, 1 hour later, my bird died, yeah. And so sometimes we need to obviously take it literally as well. So you were shown the death card and then your bird died. When Grim Reaper appears, it can be that. Now, when Grim Reaper appeared to me, I was going through a lot of deaths in my life, personally, relationship-wise. It was a lot of relationships that just went, you know, like shifted out and across, and so many relationships parted from a life, not through death, but it was a death of our relationship, like not a physical death. But 5 months later, my cat died as well. So, you know, when Grim Reaper shows up or you see a death card, like, you know, ask your intuition, ask your soul guides, ask whoever, you know, like, what is about to die, or what do I need to be made aware of, or how can I prepare to support people who are passing over, or what is it that I need to do. Usually when you're showing it, it's kind of not for yourself. I mean, it could be, like, it could mean anything. Again, the thing is not to be put in fear to it, right? So then an hour later your bird died. And, you know, these kind of experiences teach us that next time, like just for me, like last year, at the end of last year, it was like Grim Reaper showed up and I was like, wow, what the hell does this mean? Like, I had no idea what it meant at the time, but looking back nearly a year later, I've had all this insight and information about what Grim Reaper even means, what witch means, what that means in the collective consciousness, what that means in consciousness, what that means in archetypes, what that means in your life, what that means in everything, yeah? So every time we go through an experience like this, it's our intuition teaching us the next level of our skills if we're paying attention. And then next time these signs come up, we can go, okay, cool, that's what happened last time. These are all the other things that this could possibly mean. What are you showing me right now? What am I needing to take action on? And of course we listen. Hey, Jeanette. All right. I don't think there's anything else I need to share, actually. Does anyone else have any questions? So about the energy update, and you know how I said like 3 weeks ago, and I was like the 14th and like whatever's going to happen. And I was getting the message though that this energy is going to go on for about 3 weeks, which kind of would make sense when you look at the full moon this week. In 2 weeks, I'm going to hold the animal shaman ceremony activation, and that'll be on the 28th. That's on the dark moon. So that's 2 weeks away, roughly, just under 2 weeks now. And so 3 weeks from that full moon takes us into the beginning of November. And I feel like this energy of like shedding, releasing, is going to hang around until then. So how do you support yourself in that? You take extra care of yourself. You get your energy up. Yeah, in a sense of like if you're drained, depleted, not taking care of yourself, in a negative self-talk space and you're not pulling yourself out of it, or being around people who can support you and actually choosing to come out of that space, you know, like I say, sleep, all of those energy practices, self-care, the whole damn thing, that is how you support yourself the best. Plus being conscious that we are in this portal. Right? Like this is the thing, as a healer, as an empath, if we do not allow ourselves to come into the cyclic rhythm and flow of the planet that we live on, we are not going to survive. We are going to be put in loony bins and all that sort of thing because we're not taking responsibility of our energy and taking divine responsibility as a light worker, as a healer, as an energy practitioner, as an ancient blooded healer, as an empath. Like, we have a responsibility to manage our energy, to be able to ground into our body, to be able to use our skills for the purpose that we're put on this planet, with all the demons, with all the darkness, with all the shit that goes on, because that is our job. That is our job. Divine step number 8 to awakening your life purpose is responsibility, and this is what it means. Yeah? Is that going to be live? Yeah, it's a special event in a special group. There will be a fee for that. It's $55 US, so $55 US. So there is a container being held for it. It's not just going to be a live public event. It's not. I wasn't guided to do that. In this animal shaman as well, it's a live channeled activation that will flow through me in the group setting, and then I've been guided to give personal one-on-one group, like on the live stream like this, but then I'll go into specifically the people who are joined in that space and sacred container. I've been guided to intuitively help you interpret what comes through for you, getting covered in goosebumps, about your animal shaman, because this is something that, you know, I was just like, when I was getting the messages about it, I'm like, oh, so this is just like the animal totem meditation, and then like, nah, and then it was showing me all this different stuff, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this is something else, and I feel like it's more about, and I was getting the message, this is more about setting your energy frequency up for 2020, so it's like a closing off of the past 10 years, so interesting, the past 10 years in the 10th month, right, it's October, in this space here, and being able to, like, you know, integrate what that is moving forward, because I feel like moving forward, the people who are coming with me and reality awareness on this journey, I'm getting lots of clarity about what we're actually doing on the earth here, because after all this time of me just following my intuition, it's all coming together. And this is why I keep harping on, I'm like, you won't see trust your intuition. like this at this low investment, again, because of all the information I'm being shown, plus with this animal shaman activation. Like, this is about the ancient blooded healers and the light workers, like, doing what we're meant to be doing. And it's it leaves me quite speechless, and I'm grateful, and just, it's, yeah, like, wow, okay, now I get the picture. You know how I'm always like harping on it, I'm like, got a 5 and 10 year plan, and I'm so clear about what I'm doing, and like, I have been clear, but I haven't been shown the details. Like, yes, I've got that big vision and that, you know, like soul vision picture of where it's going in the entire world, like in 20, 40, 50 years time, what that's going to look like. Like, I'm really clear on that. But all the little minute steps leading to that, like, I don't get shown that until the next day, until the next day, until the next day. Like, I'm walking in absolute faith and into the unknown, into the unknown, into the unknown, even though that, like, picture is complete. Do you know what I mean? And like, just in the past month, 2 months, it's like I'm getting shown like all the little details coming together that's like able to support, and I'm just like, wow, okay. Okay. So the Pleiadians and Lemuria have been really strong for me the past week as well. And you know, like, and this is what I was saying, like, this past week since the full moon, there's been a lot of like, so much darkness and releasing and old patterns. But what happens when that is cleared out? All this new stuff can come in, and there's been a lot of people getting a fuckload of insight as this is releasing. Like, this is the flow, isn't it? The flow, the never-ending flow, the Taurus flow. Okay. You're so welcome, Nalina. Could you please let us know, will you be doing the animal shaman thing in a group or from your page? Yeah, it'll be in a specific group. I haven't even got the sales page set up yet. It's just like, I have started it, but I didn't finish it yet. And yeah, so that'll be released probably this weekend. So keep an eye out for it. I'll put all the details up. But yeah, once, it's a bit like, say if you've joined Activating Archangel Frequency, or if you join Trust Intuition, you get access to the Facebook group once you've joined us. So yeah. And it will be on a Facebook group. Yeah, it'll be a live Facebook group thing. So Ricky says, I found a shaman stone in my garden a few months back and a phoenix quartz. Wow, that's awesome. I love that. Love it. Of course you did. Okay, so Shari says, I dreamt about my partner who suicided in 2010 last night. I felt so nice to connect with him. Yeah, I was putting boundaries in place. Awesome. Things to honor me. Yes. I have been quite heavy this morning, missing the affection in the dream and the fun we'd have. Yeah, isn't it interesting? Because for me, this is so random, I found myself going through my box of old letters and just things like from my grandmother who's passed away, like letters I've kept from when she used to send them to me as a child, and just always like, you know, it's like, what is it? Sentimental memorabilia stuff. Now, years ago, it would have been maybe 2011. I remember being in my old house, and like, I'd kept in that box, you know, or a different box, I'd kept all the love letters from boyfriends. Like, did you guys in high school? Obviously not today, but 10, almost, oh my God, is it 20 years ago? Because we didn't have phones. It was letters. Did you guys ever used to have, like, I don't know, like, what are they called? You know, like, or like for your eyes only, and it, like, so it's like text message, but all letters. Anyway, all that sort of stuff, right? And in 2011, I went through and I just burnt and got rid of so much stuff. Like, I had a massive bonfire. But love letters from exes and, you know, all that. Yeah, we folded them in cool ways. Exactly. That's what I was like. I'm like, did you remember seeing them? Yeah. Like, I don't even remember how we did that stuff. Anyway. And so, you know, I cleaned out everything, love letters from exes and blah, blah, blah. And last night I went through this box and there was one that I'd kept. Well, a few from one guy, and I was like, what the fuck is this still doing in here? I was just like, oh my God, like, why did I keep this? And it was kind of interesting, and I was just like, you know, like really tapping. I was like, obviously this person was really special to me and I haven't let go of it yet. And I'm like, is that why I'm like randomly going through this box that, like, do you know what I mean? I was like, talk about releasing the old. So of course that's gone up in smoke as a releasing ceremony like that. And the thing I want to point out, Shari, is similar around missing the feelings or that love or the fun and that sort of thing. And this is really important when we're talking about relationship life review, relationship review, yeah? And going through and cleaning out these relationships. It's like looking at the values and the feelings of that relationship, right? Now, when you can give gratitude in those feelings, it's not that they're never available again. They are, and they are something that lives within you, not specifically with that person, but those feelings, they're the things like the fun and the love, like that level of love and connection and feeling that love from them to them. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, those feelings live within you. And when you can activate those feelings within you and expand them within yourself, i.e., how can I feel that much love in my life? How can I feel that much connection in my life? How can I feel that much fun and joy in my life? Not with a person, but how can I cultivate those feelings? Like, those feelings that you feel with that person, they're a reference point for what that feels like. Now, when you can activate that feeling within yourself, that's when your whole life can change. In a sense, like, for example, with me, that feeling, like, and I'll give you an example, like that feeling is, you know, like love, connection, feeling loved, joy, happiness, right? Now that feeling, that's a reference point that I felt in that relationship, yeah? Now, with that feeling, the example that I'm going to give you for me personally, when I think about, and sometimes this can be the tricky part, well, you're like, well, how the fuck am I supposed to cultivate that within myself? Like, I don't know, like, right? But when we remember that everyone is a reflection of what is already exists within us, and we integrate that, you know, we think of shadow work and doing the deep inner work as just the dark stuff and the bad stuff. It's also the good stuff. And this is where we remember our light, and this is where we remember the good stuff, right? This is where we activate our light. This is where we activate the good stuff and start moving on the good path, on the light path, rather than always being in the shit and the trauma and the darkness and the pain and blah, 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 blah. Now, the example for me personally, and I'm a little bit nervous to share this publicly, is because I know I've shared it in my private group, like when I feel into that level of connection, yeah, for me, that feeling, when I label it, it's connection, it's feeling supported, loved, like supported in what I do. It's like feeling that like complete no judgment at all for anything that I do. Like, it's really strong, right? And when that expands in me, like, it's like, how can I cultivate that without another person? Like, if I wasn't in a relationship, like, do you know what I mean? Now, in that thing of cultivating that, for me, those feelings that I just labeled, connection, 100% support, no judgment, like that whole, and that's like, that feels love then, right? Completely no judgment about anything that I'm doing, or, you know, that. So when I look at expanding those feelings, I'm like, what? And for me personally, this is what it is. For me to cultivate those particular feelings that I just mentioned, that is the reason why I've hung on to those particular letters from that particular person, because that's what the feeling of that relationship gave me. That how I can cultivate that is with deep lifestyle changes. For me, when I feel into what that would, how would I bring those feelings into my life of complete love, support, connection, like that, no judgment of self, like, you know, like, how do I feel that? Now, if you guys have seen in my private group, when we looked at divine step number 10, which is wholeness, when I spoke in there, I spoke about giving up coffee soon. Haven't done it yet. And if you're wondering why I haven't done it yet, you can check out in divine step number 10, because when we release any addiction, any addiction, there's stuff underneath. And I'm very conscious of the big stuff that's underneath my coffee addiction. And I'm preparing to deal and face with that because I know how big it is. I also know that coffee, and this might sound ridiculous, coffee is my thing that's going to make me be healthy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, there's so much more to that. But when I really look at giving up coffee, that then sets me on the path to health. Like, for me, it's just, I don't know, there's so much I could share about that, but I did share about that in my Reality Awareness support group. You can go and check it out or send me a message if you want the direct link. That though, you know, like, because I've always known that eating majority raw food, like being like pure health, you know, because I've been in that space before. When I was about 27, 28, I was like feeling the best I'd ever felt in my entire life, like physically, mentally, emotionally, because I was eating that. So I was living that particular lifestyle, like to a T, right? And I've always struggled to get back to that. So, and there's so many reasons. Again, go and check it out in that other live stream. That when I feel into those feelings about the relationship that I just shared, those feelings come from that particular lifestyle. For me personally, not for everybody, right? And this is where it's so important to not copy or do what others are doing, only if it's in complete, utter soul alignment for you as well, right? Because every genetic makeup person, feeling, life, purpose, lifestyle is different for everyone, and it's so important to tune in what's right for you. For me, that's what cultivates those feelings, like without trying, if that makes sense. Yeah, so complete lifestyle change. So it was kind of significant and interesting that I just happened to find that last night, and I was like, what? Like, it's the only thing in there that I've held on to, right? Now, when you really look at that, and we talk about the law of attraction or manifestation, like, you have to become the thing you're wanting to manifest in your life. Like, if you're trying to bring in something and manifest in your life, are you being that? Like, especially in a relationship, like, what is it that you value about a relationship? What is it that you want in a relationship? So then you look at those qualities and values, and it's like, are you living that yourself? Because if not, you're going to attract an unhealthy or unbalanced relationship that's going to try and fuel those needs for you. But when you become those values and qualities that you're craving, say in a relationship, and you become that in yourself, which might come from a complete lifestyle changeover and leaving everyone behind. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's so many factors to this. But it's like really tapping into cultivating those feelings within yourself and becoming that thing. Like, you know, and the thing for me is, like, I haven't been ready to date nor want to date, because I know that those things that I'm valuing and wanting in a relationship, I'm not 100% there with meeting them within myself yet first, right? And it's not about being perfect, and it's not about control and perfectionism. It's not about that. It's just that I've been through enough codependent relationships where I'm willing to value myself enough to become the person that I want to be before I'm then ready to date from a whole perspective. We're in October, which is wholeness, right? In Divine Step number 10. In looking at that from an energetic standpoint, right? So in a long-winded answer, it is that, you know, so when I look at those letters that I burn from what I just happened to find last night, I'm like, yeah, those feelings are what I'm about to step into with the lifestyle changes I'm about to make, right? Okay. That's my dog out there, if you're wondering what that noise is. Okay. Yes, folded them. Yeah, Lemurian energy. Yeah, it's been so strong since about August. Yeah, it's been strong again. Hey. Okay, so let me see here. Yeah, fold them in special ways. Yeah, I still have a box full of old letters from high school. Yes, I used to communicate because we didn't have text messages. Yeah. I came across some old papers the other day, and one of them was a year 6 book list from my eldest, who is now at uni. Wow. I've got to get some cleaning. Yeah, cleaning out time. Shadow work. Yes, I have mentioned it. So in Trust Your Intuition, Amanda, if you log in there, I specifically go into shadow work. There's an awesome live stream that I did on there. So just send me a message and I can give you the exact name of that live stream. Because yeah, like that's a whole nother topic and depth and live stream in itself. So yeah, there's a live stream that can help with that for now. So Kelly says, when you meet new people, are you honest about what you do? I feel I keep my spirituality so private. People get weird when I talk about it. So Kelly, I'm at a point in my life where I've created a lifestyle where the only people around me are into this stuff. If I meet new people, so in answer to that question, if I meet new people, I don't talk much. When people ask me what I do, I tell them that I have an online business. I teach personal development and I train healers to become certified healers. That's like, I'm a teacher and train people personal development with a certified training program. So that's what I say, and it's not very often, I guess, at the moment that I meet new people. If I do, that's the kind of response. But I've literally created a lifestyle where I only have these people around me. Yeah. So, and people do get weird when you talk about it. Yeah. So, you know, it just depends. Like, what I've learned over time is not about censoring self, but being confident in self. Because the other thing you have to remember that when people get weird about it around you, it's reflecting a level of doubt and weirdness within yourself about how you feel about it too. Yeah. The more you hang around people who do what you do, the easier it will be confident to be out in the normal world with what you do as well. Okay. And there's lots of different ways that you can address that as well. You can just say I teach personal development. You can say I'm a healer. Like, it depends. Like, you know, again, like how I respond to that depends also who I'm talking to. Again, not to censor myself, but I say that I've got an online business and I train teachers to become teachers. I train certified healers. Like, do you know what I mean? I teach personal development. Like, just depends. But yeah, people can usually pick it up in me anyway. Things like my tattoos. So yeah, let me know if that helps. There's lots I could say to that, and I go into depth in that in the Life Purpose Mentorship, and even Trust Intuition about how to come out to the world about your gift. But it's definitely about being around people who do it all the time as well. Having a tribe that do it, and that's why Trust Intuition is there. That's what you're doing. Yep, trying to kickstart it even more. Awesome. Love it, Shari. Sounds like you're already on path. All right, so Jeanette says, I was told energy from the blood moon energy is directly linked to next year's sun eclipse in July. How interesting. This will be 9 months. How interesting. To sun eclipse transformation. How amazing. Is this why we are releasing so much? Maybe. I know you always talk about a 9 and 18 month process. Yeah, birthing that new cycle. How interesting, right? So at that 9 month cycle and the 18 month cycle. So what I talk with that is that from that date, like months, doesn't have to be exact, month of when the main issue surfaced and happened. So there was a big relationship breakup or a relationship argument or something, right? 6 months later, it will kind of surface again, like physically, like whether it's grief or something will shift again. At 9 months, there's another kind of like death rebirth thing going on about that main issue. And then another 9 months after that, it kind of like, it's almost like the healing cycle. So it's interesting that you say that, that it's directly linked to the sun eclipse in July, which is the transformation. So it's kind of interesting when you look at that. So if you look to where we are now in September, October, for yourself, for your clients, and then look back to, you know, like 9-10 months ago. And as I've always been saying, like that November, December, January was very dark for a lot of people. A lot of people went like down. Like last November, December, January was like some of the hardest months for collective humanity. Like there was some dark energy that swept the planet. Like there was a big death there. And when we really look about it, that was the 9th year, or is this the 9th year? Out of that 8, 9 months, 8, 9 years out of this past decade as well. It's really important to just, you know, and it's not like we're blaming it or blah, blah, blah. It's like when we can really wrap our head around working with these cycles, it takes the like, there's something wrong with me and there's something wrong with you and you can't be fixed out of the freaking equation. And we look at these healing cycles and we're like, oh, that's because you're in this part of your life. That's because this stuff is clearing out. It's okay. Now we can support you and move forward rather than there's something wrong with you and you can't be fixed. Like, right? So powerful. Yay, day 1 for you, Shari. Love it. Karen Lee says, I'm not sure how true it is, but yesterday in a video I was watching a lady said that coffee is a tool to connect with source. Anything can be used to connect with source. Anything. And anything can also be used as an avoidance mechanism, even spirituality. Please be mindful of that. Anything can be used as a tool to connect to source. Anything can be used as a tool to avoid. Anything can be used for destruction or transformation and positivity stuff, right? Construction, that's what I was looking for. Makes sense. I prayed for help with these changes last night right before I slept after taking a herb to help me have deep sleep. Oh, the deep sleep. Yes, I've been like really consciously getting to bed at like 8:30. So I get those like deep sleep hours. So important. So important. Think I'll going back what she was saying is didn't pay much attention. Yeah. The more confident I become in my gifts, the more people seem to fall away. Yeah, ones I never imagined. I know it happens, doesn't it? Super happens. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks for joining me live, guys. I'm going to jump off this live stream. And if you think this can help somebody, please share it. Please tag your friends' names in the comments if you think can help them, or share it in a private message. Remember, if you're watching on YouTube, to like and subscribe. Trust the Intuition is open. The early bird increases next Thursday, and then we're on to the final round. And as I keep harping on about, you won't see these low investment prices to come into Trust the Intuition ever again, not where this is all shifting to. So I'm pretty excited, and keep your eyes and ears out for Animal Shaman. I will release the details for that too if you're feeling called to come for that new moon, the dark moon ceremony on the 28th. That will be a live channeled private container that will be held in a private group, and then I'll be giving intuitive insight to every individual that joins us in that space. I've been guided to really help you decipher what the Animal Shaman is that comes through for you, and how that activates within your body, and what that is even for your 2020. I'm getting really strongly, it's such a big support thing for 2020. Don't ask me why. I'm sure we'll get shown in the live channel activation. So I'm looking forward to that. You're so welcome, Shari, Jeanette. You're so welcome, Mandalian. Lovely to have you guys here. Mwah, mwah. Love you heaps. Bye.